It is a very nice day out. Super, super nice. And it's the first time recording for this project that I'm calling out in the open. Which, in this case, I truly am out in the open, but that's not really the point of this. I think the point of this whole thing will get revealed over time, so I'll just leave it at that for now, and maybe later get into something like that. But for now, the thing that was on my mind lately was playlists. Been listening to a lot of music lately, getting back into running, um, trying to trying to train actually for a new marathon. It's the first one that Cedar Rapids has, and it is in June. Actually, I have to register for it today before the price goes up another $10. So I will remind yourself do that. um, but yeah, I just been thinking about playlists a lot. One for the run because anybody that really runs kind of knows that eventually you have to kind of refresh the mix that you're listening to and quite literally mix it up sometimes. So I'm going to try to do that because I feel like I've been basically building this playlist of, a lot of motivational type songs and things that just kind of get my blood pumping. But it's gotten to be like 300-400 songs, and so it's plenty long, but it does not it does not exactly bode well for more of the curated style of music or kind of like more purposeful intent for a playlist. It's just kind of like a really broad like fitness uh, playlist, if you will. So I don't know, it just got me thinking about that, and then just thinking back to this word playlist in general and sort of my thoughts on it. And I just feel like now in the day of Spotify that we live in, which that's what I listen to stuff on, and Spotify is actually pretty great. I don't like it when the price goes up like a buck. It feels like every 6 months, but hey, more people get on it. They got to make money. I get it, and justify the means. But playlists are just so different now. Uh, I remember growing up. This will date me a little bit, but I still remember the days of burning CDs. Um, just burning CDs, naming them, giving them to people, making curated playlists for people, and it always kind of being a surprise and honestly an effort to do so because, at least for me, I use things like Napster, Kazaa, LimeWire. I think LimeWire. Yeah, I think that's it. I use a lot of these things to find different music and download it and put it onto this list and be very thoughtful and methodical about it. Though I don't think it really started that way. I think it was just purely trying to figure out how to how to burn CDs, just kind of put on some tracks that I like and don't really think about it too much and just do it purely for my own enjoyment. I would name a lot of mixes like JVA, which is my initials, like JVA mix 1, 2, and eventually I lost track of the order and just came up with a bunch of other different names for it. But that was kind of my start on making playlists, and I've always really enjoyed it. But then even thinking about that, it's like finding music back then was was just different. Uh, now like Spotify's so great with their algorithm, I can have a lot of recommendations towards me. People can of course tell me music, which that's not really changed even with technology, but people can certainly do that. But I don't know. I feel like finding music when I was a lot younger, it almost feel more special. Like when you found a song like kind of out in the wild. The methods that I had back then. My father was one. He, he was a DJ at one point. He loves to tell that story, but he was at one point for a hot minute. And he got me into music in a lot of different ways. But he would certainly, turn me on to certain songs, certain bands. Uh, Nothing really like it's not like he showed me like Led Zeppelin or something like that. I think I discovered that one on my own, or probably through a movie. Even though I know in movies, at least they have the reputation for a long time of being very safeguardy with their music and not allowing a lot of movies or filmmakers, I should say, to use their music. But anyways, I digress. Um, but I don't know. I guess like my father showed me different music. I had brothers. My older brother, he's definitely the more. I think he was even more music heavy than I was when I was younger, and he liked a lot of different stuff. I remember we listened to a lot of Queen. There was Led Zeppelin. There was AC/DC. A lot of these like classic rock bands, if you will. Um, don't really think I got into any sort of experimental or alternative or just out of the mainstream type music until I was a lot older. But just finding music, it was just totally different. It's absolutely different back then. But I'm just thinking about this idea of playlists and making them for people, and what a joy I I felt that was, and what I think it's kind of lacking now when we make a playlist. I think. Um, I mean, like now, like of course, like you can make a playlist, no problem, and you can create your own album artwork, and hell, have AI generate as many crazy things as you want to, or images to get what's in your head onto the page, so to speak, and then you can do it that way. So I mean, like it's not like it's bad now. I'm not trying to be the old man harping on technology and it was better when I was younger. Nothing like that, but it was definitely different because you had to be a lot more intentional about putting together a playlist. And I think the first people that I made playlists for was probably my dad. If I'm being honest, I think so. I mean, I think I would kind of try to show him that like I had good taste, or that I like had some good music that I found on my own that I discovered without him. Probably if we're watching movies, because really, actually, I think that's actually more the God's honest truth is finding music for me when I was younger certainly came from a lot of movies. I discovered so many different artists from soundtracks and scores across hundreds of movies, and that still happens to this day. But yeah, I'd make playlists for my dad, make them for my brother. We had a lot of road trips. I should just say road trips. Is a divorced father coming to pick up their kid across state lines every other weekend? Is that a road trip? Maybe. Well, it felt like a road trip when you were a younger kid. You don't really recognize it that much, but it was cool. So like we had a lot of time to spend on the road, like 3-4 hours. So we had a lot of time to kill, so we could listen to music, and I felt like we would always really talk intentionally about the music. So like we'd let a song play if it was one that hadn't been heard before. Like my dad and I, like we would talk about like, oh, like this song was really cool, or like lyrically it was interesting, or like we really like how it flowed into this next one. So we talked a lot about that sort of stuff. Um, and then I think it grew from there. I mean, I'd make CDs for my mom. I'd make them for my brothers. Started making them for some friends. I didn't have a ton of friends growing up, but I had a few. Um, and I'm almost certain that I made some CDs for people at some point. I don't think I ever had a ton made for me. Um, if I'm being honest, like I'm sure my older brother probably made me one at one point. My father certainly did. Uh, but yeah, I never really had a ton that was that was made specifically for me. But even still, like I would just make playlists for myself and burn them and kind of have my own little CD collection, if you will. And yeah, it's just like it. There really is something special about being able to listen to a playlist, especially like if it's one given to you from another person. So you have no idea what the track list is, you have no idea what the order is, and you just kind of completely surrender yourself over to whatever is going to be played, played to you, and just fully immerse yourself into it. I should say. It's so cool. I actually wish Spotify would have a setting like that or something where it's like you could actually like create a playlist for somebody, and then not or excuse me, you could create the playlist, do the order, the flow, however you want to do it, theme it how you want to, whatever, make album artwork, and then you could send it to somebody, but then they cannot see the track list. Like they have to push play from track one, and I guess if you really want to go hardcore, they can't skip anything, so you have to go from track one to at least when I was burning CDs, we'd have the CDs that could hold like 14, 15 songs, give or take. If there were shorter ones, you could probably get away with more than that. But um, yeah, no, that was something. And thinking, I lost my train lost my train of thought, honestly. But hey, Spotify, if you're watching or listening to this, don't steal this idea from me, or give me a percentage when you take it and run with it and start to adopt it. Um, let's see what else on playlists. I really enjoy listening to playlists with people. I think that's one of my favorite things to do, actually, with friends. I mean, this might be veering a little bit off of playlist, but I still think it applies. I love sitting around with a good friend, maybe even a couple, and just rotating music off of YouTube. You know, you just like, it's like, hey, it's your turn, pick a song. Let's watch it. Pick a song, your turn. Just rotate. Um, you don't have to talk about it afterwards if you don't want to, but I think it's more engaging and fun, honestly. Uh, I don't know. There's just like there's something about it where it's like if you're playing a song for somebody that they never heard it, and you just want to get like their quick hot take and just be like, hey, like what'd you think of this track? And they just tell you, you can get into conversations that stimulates ideas. I think it's really appealing, and it's a really relaxing way to spend an evening, and also a really great way to get to know somebody. I'm telling you, if you really want to get to know somebody, sit with them for a while and see what they like to listen to and talk about it, have a conversation about it. I think there's something there. I really think there's something there to that. I don't know. I don't really have, I guess, much else that I can say about playlists right now. I'm just purely going off the top. That's kind of the point of these out in the opens is just trying to air out thoughts on something and maybe discover some stuff along the way myself, and hopefully stimulate some stuff within yourselves as well. I'd love to know what playlists you listen to. If you still make playlists today, do you have a curated set? You know, like this is my good mood playlist. This is my driving mix. This is what I'm going to do if I'm mowing the lawn. I don't know what the hell constitutes a mowing the lawn playlist. Uh, I'm really, I'm drawing a blank. I'm trying to think of some song that it literally incorporates, mowing over grass. But I'm sure there's one out there. Somebody can tell me about it. But yeah, just let me know. Let me know. Do you make playlists? Did you ever burn CDs? Hell, for anybody that's older, make cassettes. That's before my time, but I'm pretty sure you could do it then. No audio file, but I've seen movies. They do that. Burn tapes. Um, yeah, just let me know if you do that. And I just really appreciate anybody that's watching this or listening to this taking the time to do so. I'm planning on doing these when inspiration strikes, and I'm not going to be overly producing this. I'm not going to be overly promoting it, honestly, either. I just kind of want to do this for myself and to get some enjoyment out of it and see where this goes, because this is an idea that I've had in my head for a while, is being able to get out of my head, because it is a place I sometimes spend a little too much time in, and I think in the content creation side of things, when I've done it before, especially when I was doing the Screen Speak podcast, I would get very in my head and perfectionisty about stuff. And I would also feel limited in what I could talk about because I was almost always talking about something related to movies, which would tie back to broader things in life, which is great. But it still felt a little limiting, and I always kind of felt a little performative while I was doing it. And so this is something that I've had this idea for a while. Maybe in another video I will explain how it came to me and what it all means. But I think the point on this, and this is really more for myself to hear, it's like just don't overthink it. Let's just do this. Let's just do this and see where it goes. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next time. Until next time. You all take care. Goodbye.